Children's Peace Theater and its board in Congo for putting on this event on International Peace Day. This is a place, in my experience, where one can always come through the doors and listen to beautiful music. And where's our artist? Thank you for your songs. And a place, in the spirit of Janet's comments, where people can come and listen and learn, and it's in that spirit that I always come here and enjoy the opportunity and experience of being here. And it's because I'll say this is your lived experience that we are talking about today, those of you here today who come from the DRC. And it's important that those of us who represent Canadians, whether at the city level or provincially or federally, have the opportunity to come to places like the Children's Peace Theater and listen to other people's lived experience. We are part of our political culture, I guess, called on as politicians, though, to say things as well. And in the context of an intimate gathering like this, with folks here with experiences like you have, I make any comments with tremendous modesty. What strikes me about the circumstances in the DRC is the fundamental contradictions between the tremendous wealth of that country, and I think it's about $24 trillion worth of minerals buried in the ground in that place, and the circumstances, the social circumstances of the country. One would anticipate that kind of wealth is a platform upon which children can live peacefully, where there is health care available to everyone, where there is considerable opportunity and easy access to education. And yet we have in the DRC this strange contradiction of a wealthy place in this world with this tremendous bounty of goods buried in the ground, and a country that sits, I think, at the very bottom or close to the very bottom of the UN's Human Development Index. And that, I think, speaks to the terrible tragedy that's going on there, and those sources of wealth are being exploited to fund a war going on now for 15 years, I guess, and that has cost almost 6 million lives, in which, as wars go and they're horrible, brutal things, this is one of particular note where sexual violence is used as an instrument of harm and terror and torture. And it's a horrible context, but set of circumstances. But I would propose to you, of course, as ever, hence I'm an NDPer, there is hope and there is reason to be optimistic. And I wanted to point out that one source of that optimism comes in the form of a bill that my colleague Paul Dewar, our foreign affairs critic, NDP foreign affairs critic, tabled in the House just this past March. And he had tabled the similar bill in the last Parliament, but it had fallen off the order paper because of the election. And the bill, has everybody heard of this bill? No. Yes, some not. Okay, so the bill is entitled "An Act Respecting Corporate Practices Relating to the Extraction, Processing, Purchase, Trade, and Use of Conflict Minerals from the Great Lakes region of Africa." And I wanted to very briefly quote Paul's statement as he introduced the bill into the House this past March, and he said that he was honored to introduce the bill. I won't reiterate the title because it's a long one. But he goes on to say that conflict minerals that end up in many products, such as our cell phones and game consoles, are responsible for funding and fueling a war that has killed more than 5 million people in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The war in the Congo is the deadliest conflict since World War II. Rape is widely used as a strategy and a weapon of war. The bill ensures that minerals used in Canadian products will not benefit armed groups engaged in atrocities. We developed the bill in consultation with industry and civil society, and I urge all members to support the bill in Parliament. Let us make Canada a leader in ending rape and war in the Congo. And the NDP's Paul's bill isn't the only initiative ongoing, and the Americans embedded a clause in the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act, which has prompted a number of projects I know on the ground dealing with conflict minerals and efforts to be able to trace and follow those minerals from mine to smelter and beyond. But I think more to the point, Paul's bill is based on the Kimberley process, which was put into place to deal with the issue of blood diamonds. And now, because of that process, virtually 100% of rough diamond mining falls under the Kimberley process. And there was a recent article that was in the Globe and Mail following the introduction of Paul's bill in the House again, and Joanne Lebert, director of the Great Lakes Program at an Ottawa-based NGO called Partnership Africa-Canada, and one of the founders of this Kimberley process for blood diamonds said that Paul's legislation essentially provides a blueprint for how to source minerals responsibly from a region where violent crimes, particularly rape, are tied to artisanal extractive industries. And about 200 companies, including our own RIM, are now participants in regional activities aiming to enshrine the OECD guidelines on conflict minerals, which are now law in the DRC and Rwanda. And in her view, this is a much improved approach to Dodd-Frank because it lays out for Canadian stakeholders and others how to source responsibly from the region with initiatives that are actually being tested. So I think what we have is, in her view, an opportunity to put forward through the Canadian Parliament, which she calls enlightened guidance, that's been missing on this issue. I'd be happy to hear the response of folks today to that assessment of the bill for those who are aware of it. But I think it provides an opportunity for some hope and optimism that there are mechanisms where we act collectively, internationally, in response to circumstances such as those in the DRC to end war and bring about peace. And it's our hope, as the official opposition in the Parliament of Canada, that other parties in the House will also see the light in Bill 486. Keep that number in mind if you haven't heard of the bill yet, so that we can begin a process of peace in the DRC and bring an end to war over there. So thank you very much for the opportunity to meet with you all and speak to you today.